Now let's talk about challenges. What challenges do you see soybean farmers facing? And Patrick, I'll have you answer first, and then Carla, if you want to add.
Absolutely.
This goes back to how many uses we have for soybeans. But what challenges would you like to start with? I think one of the things, looking at right now, and some of this even goes back to policy, is, tax credits, tax bill going through, especially with farmers. We're all land rich and tax poor. So, that's something that needs to be clarified in the farm bill going forward as well. We're still waiting on that, which, once again, not getting into the policy end of it. I think going forward, a lot of the challenges that we have too is just trying to figure out your marketing scenario this year. For those of us that have on-farm storage, I think that's been a good thing because, now we can weather that a little bit. If we were selling off the combine in the beginning of the year, prices weren't too good. So if you got them in the bin, now you can, play devil's advocate a little bit and figure out where you need to be with it. Input costs going forward too, it's one of those things. Talking to your agronomy agent or whoever, your seed supplier, fertilizer supplier, trying to get a pulse on where you're at going into next year. Should we buy some stuff forward? Try to know where our margins are going to be. That's one of the things that, I think keeps us up at night a little bit. And just, challenges here. One of the ones we have here in New Jersey, and, I joke about it all the time, but it's not really funny, that, we have building and urban sprawl going on all over the country, and we're losing farm ground rapidly in this country, which goes into food security, which which turns into national security. But, when you lose 1,000 acres out in the Midwest, it's detrimental, especially to the farmer that lost 1,000 acres. We lose 1,000 acres here in Jersey, it's catastrophic because we just don't have that much ground. And I think that's one of the biggest things that going forward is trying, I don't know where the middle ground is there on preservation. I don't know how other states are doing it. We're a little bit too late to the game. We've had preservation here, but the problem is whether it comes down from the state or county, a lot of our municipalities have like a home rule. So they don't have to adopt preservation if they don't want to. And in some here in Burlington County, we have been inundated with warehouses and housing projects to no end. And the sad part is these warehouses sit there empty. So they just took farm ground away for no apparent reason.
It's good that we keep an eye on some of these challenges and sharing them across the U.S. because we're all facing different things. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Carla, from your perspective, what do you see some of the challenges being?
My first phrase is challenges bring opportunities, right? I think for sure we have many challenges in this market. As we've seen, we've ridden a roller coaster as farmers on where is that going to sit. And even though I believe the prices of soybeans actually this year held pretty steady compared to our Chicago Board of Trade prices on wheat and corn, it's not so much the here and now, it is what does it look like in the future. And that was the biggest thing when we thought of the deal that was made with China, which really is status quo. It's what we've always had. But I think with the challenges and opportunities, and we talk about those big opportunities, where can we fit? Because we talk about bio-based innovations across the board. When we talk about the renewable volume opportunities we have in the biofuel space, when we talk about, you've heard this, microplastics is all over our headlines, right? But we think of the bio-based plastics that can come from soybeans and corn, and that's a huge space I think that we can fill as well. And then the feed across the globe is, we have quality soybeans to have quality soybean meal to feed that aquaculture, our pork industry, and our chicken industry. But how can we make that more viable and more competitive in spaces across the world? So I think we have a lot of challenges, and I would also agree with the challenges of preserving farmland, like at home when I think of that, right? We can think in a really big picture of what we're looking at across the globe, but then when we bring it back home, what are we facing? Yeah, preservation of farmland. I would say consolidation is another big one. And we look in the food industry and we've seen that happen. And so, of course, economies of scale take over, but to what extent? I think that's a question we should ask ourselves as well. But then something else that we're challenged with is just our threats to our soybean crop and our corn crop or our wheat crop or whatever crops you're growing. And we're consistently investing in that sustainability of on-farm practices and what is happening there as well.